I interviewed with Romney. He tried to hire me in 1984. Do you know, I didn't know. I mean, why do people now say, well, I don't want to have a Mormon as president? I mean, I never even thought of him as a Mormon. I thought he's like the best businessman in North America. And that's how you should think of him. I don't hear anybody talking about growth. Romney is the guy who favors growth. Romney understands business, he understands taxes, he understands capital creation. He reminds me very much of what I thought Bob Rubin was like when Bob Rubin was Treasury Secretary.
Was he the best?
Oh, man, since Hamilton.
I had no problem when I was on Chris Matthews' show recently and called him perhaps the best businessman in the country. It was personal experience. Didn't mean it as an endorsement for anyone for president. I just meant to tell the truth about his rigor, acumen, and ability.
He's a guy that wasn't in this business. He hasn't been debating immigration for 10 years like I have. You know, he hasn't been debating these other issues and taking positions and back and forth. He was in business and doing mighty well, I might add. And so now he took some, became governor, and he took a look at the issue of driver's license for illegals came before him. He said, what's this? What's this side? What's that side? Studied it, came down on the right side. And he has all that it takes to be a national leader of the conservative movement. Today, I have somebody who I'm looking forward to in the future, who I hope to lead this conservative movement back into the White House.
Governor Romney knows how to bring together people of different philosophies and focus on getting effective results within a conservative framework. With Governor Romney is his very successful track record as being governor in Massachusetts, as being successful with the Olympics, being successful in the business sector. Sure, what we have with this president is we've got some concerns about his ability to execute effectively. The real strength with Governor Romney is his ability to execute, and he has proven it over and over and over again in a number of different forums, and he has shown the type of executive leadership that we are going to need in a president.
To use a Massachusetts term, he's wicked smart, okay? He's not just sort of smart, he's wicked smart.
He's pointed, he questions, he wants to see data.
He's one of those guys who can absorb a ton of information very quickly.
If you want a leader, if you want the best manager of any candidate running this year, and maybe better than all of the rest of them put together, you can't go wrong with Mitt Romney. He was top of his class at Harvard Law School, got an MBA at the same time, built Bain Capital into the multi-billion-dollar company it is today. He's extremely successful. He's straightforward. He's been married to the same woman for all of their married life. Has a wonderful family. The guy is a go-to type guy who can get it done, has guts and ability. Let's be honest about it. Mitt took over one of the bluest states in the Union. It was $3 billion in the hole, and then in 2.5, 3 years, he got it to $1 billion surplus with a legislature, a state legislature, that's 85% opposed to everything he did, everything he believed in. And frankly, he was a great governor. People know that. He's a great leader. We know in Utah very well because he came out and saved the Winter Olympics and made them the best Winter Olympics in the history of the world. And I worked very closely with him on all the security arrangements out there. And the security arrangements that we came up with and that he spearheaded now are used in the Super Bowl and almost every major venue in the country. I mean, he's a leader. He's probably the best manager of anybody running.
Mitt Romney gets this problem. He gets this problem.
Knows the industry inside out.
He knows it, and maybe he should be in charge of it, quite frankly, because he's been a turnaround king in many other businesses.
We had our chance.
Including the Olympics.
Which, I mean, you can't get more presidential looking than Mitt Romney. I mean, look, if you were to make up a guy, this would be the guy, you know, that looks presidential. He's got the jaw going on, the little gray thing in there, and I think that means a lot in America.
Well, I do too, but when you back it up with the fact that he's competent too, he ran a pretty tight Olympics, and you know, this is the guy who invented Staples. So, I mean, he's a pretty savvy guy. Not only does he look good, he's good at what he does.
He is an accomplished governor. He was an accomplished businessman, an extraordinary businessman.
If you're a Mormon, if you're conservative, and you win the governorship of Massachusetts, watch out. I mean, if this guy gets through the primary process, he's going to do very well.
I would start with Mitt Romney. Why you like competent? He's running a hell of a good business.
Number one thing going in his favor.
The fact that he is very, very experienced in management. He is an executive with enormous ability from the Olympics, from the time in Massachusetts. People will look at him and they'll say, he can run the White House in a time of great, extraordinary challenges. So I think people will find that Romney has got competence. He balanced a budget that was $300 million in deficit when he came into the Olympics. He was $3 billion in the red when he took over Massachusetts. I think people will say, yeah, this guy knows what he's doing.
He's a great guy. He did a great job in Massachusetts, especially against the illegal immigration problem. Great businessman, good guy, family man, intelligent. What else do you need?
Well, I haven't seen anyone light up a room like Mitt Romney since Ronald Reagan. He's a businessman who's proven that he can get things done and manage complex organizations, and believe me, this country needs a good manager right now. His life is built on a value system that's demonstrated itself in his family and how he's conducted himself as a businessman, as a volunteer, and as governor. Hello, I'm Senator Jim DeMint. A lot of my friends and supporters around the state and all around the country have asked me who I support for president, and I've told them Mitt Romney. They ask, why do you support Mitt Romney? First of all, he's not in Washington, D.C., and he spent most of his life as a businessman and not a politician. We need a president who's not a politician, but who is a real problem solver, and who has proven over the years that he can look at a problem and come up with a solution and actually get the job done. There's no one in the race like Mitt Romney, who's proved in business and his volunteer work and as governor of Massachusetts that he can solve a problem not by creating more government, but by making freedom work for everyone.
Why Mitt Romney?
Well, Mark, I just got to know him in a very close way over the last 4 years, and I had a chance to really get to know him as a human being. He's very bright, very articulate, has great standards for ethics, hard worker, and has been very successful in his business life, and also is very successful as governor. We'll get to know Mitt Romney, and they will respect him for the individual that he truly is. He would be a tremendous asset to America.
A lot of reasons, I think, to be excited about Governor Romney's campaign, and certainly his strong stance on immigration is one of them.
He has the business experience to do it. He took on the Olympics, turned that around and made it a success. I think he's a dynamic person.
As a Christian minister, understanding fully as an evangelical Christian that this man has those values and belief systems that will absolutely give this nation the direction that it needs. God bless you. All right.
Thank you. Mitt Romney has what I would like to see in a president, and I will describe it briefly. Success as a student, academically, graduate of Harvard Law School and Harvard Business School. Success in the private sector, at Bain & Company and Bain Capital. Success in the nonprofit sector, cleaning up the Salt Lake Olympics in 2002. Success in the public sector as governor of Massachusetts. Success in his personal life with his wonderful wife Anne and their 5 sons, 5 daughters-in-law, and at last count between 15 and 20 grandchildren. I greatly admire Mitt Romney. Greatly admire him.
To me, it feels a lot like 1992, where the voters on both sides of the aisle believe that Washington is even more than normal. Alienated from what people's concerns and interests are, and they want change. And that's one of the reasons I think Mitt Romney's well positioned, because he really does represent change. I mean, he changed the system in Washington, in Massachusetts. I think he can do the same thing in Washington.
Everything I know about Romney speaks very well of that. I've got a lot of friends who say he lights up a room when he comes in. He's got a fine personality. He's friendly. He's an extremely handsome man, as his father was, and he's always got a big smile.
That wherever he's been, whether it was the Olympics or whether it was in business or whether it was governor of Massachusetts, he's had great success.
My 14-year-old daughter had disappeared in New York City for 3 days. No one could find her. My business partner stepped forward to take charge. He closed the company and brought almost all our employees to New York. He said, I don't care how long it takes, we're going to find her. He set up a command center and searched through the night. The man who helped save my daughter was Mitt Romney. Mitt's done a lot of things that people say are nearly impossible. But for me, the most important thing he's ever done is to help save my daughter.
I'm Mitt Romney, and I approved this message.